I first do the story. I know visual concept where I want to go. I often work in groups, so I'm very rarely I work really alone. And then I start to make it, and sometimes I have a great idea in my head how it should be, and then it's something different that maybe it's even better. Because I try to follow also material and puppets, and sometimes on the way of creating a puppet, just something wonderful happens. Aha.
Okay.
Now you are loud and clear.
Okay. Oh, that's great. But it's so lovely to meet you here on Zoom.
Yeah, you too.
And I see your lovely, is it the puppets in the background there?
Yeah, I have a company.
Oh, okay. Oh,
Yeah.
wonderful. Yeah. And this is why I wanted to talk to you. I want to hear your story about how you got started in puppetry. What was the interest for you?
Yeah, it happened naturally.
Yeah.
Naturally in the way that I didn't notice. And also, my parents are workers, so I'm not coming from culture family.
Yeah.
And I'm actually the only one in our family that is in the art or the culture or university also.
Really? That's interesting.
Yeah, and but I think that my father made it possible because he always explained the world very fantastic or with the fantasy. For example, why I'm hungry or why I need to eat is because people in my stomach, they need to work. And, and when they don't have anything to work, they are angry. And that's why I'm hungry, because they are protesting.
That is so sweet.
Yeah, it's also a bit, I think, socialistic worker mentality, but it made my imaginary very active. Like, oh wow, I have society in my body.
Well, your dad must actually be very artistic to have that imagination, you know, and to tell these stories.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so wonderful. But where did you grow up?
I grew up in Slovenia.
Yeah.
In the little town. I studied then on the Academy of Theatre in Ljubljana. I studied dramaturgy.
Okay. But in school, when you were in school, how was you, or how were you as a little girl? Were you already then sort of doing little things, you know, like that, playing with puppets and or making theater or things like that?
No, I was reading a lot. I was very shy. I remember that my father once made a marionette for me out of one toy, and I was totally devastated. And he was really not happy with all these strings and what can I do? Really didn't understand. So he needed to put it away so I could have my toy back.
Yeah.
And I was very not very sporty, but more sport. In the sport, I was training karate.
Okay.
And then suddenly, I think it came from reading a lot of books. I wanted to write stories. And then I figured out that the dramaturgy exists. And this was as close as I could get in my teenager's time to my profession. And I said, yeah, that fits to my imagination. And then in the first year of the study, I figured out that I like puppetry.
Okay.
And then I did a lot of assistants in the Puppet Theater Ljubljana. I entered some private, very good group for puppet animation. and I was studying puppet animation for 2 years there, but it's studying. This is private evening school, like next to the Academy of Theatre.
Yeah, but now first, before you carry on, what was it about the puppets that attracted you? Because if you said you liked stories and story writing, I would assume you would go into the theatre, like normal theatre, would you say? But why the puppets? What intrigued you with the puppets?
I think the way I can tell the stories. It's totally different. Also what puppets can do, and you cannot do with human beings or actors, or it's just impossible to change the head or to open the stomach and run around with the open stomach, or maybe somebody comes out of the stomach. I was also I think these things are very interesting for me, and just everything has another meaning, like violence, death, birth, also breeding. It's much more important in puppetry than in acting.
Oh, really?
Because the breeding, it's a start of the puppet. It's like birth or something. Metaphorically, we can call it birth. And all these details and
but then you said that so after hours you studied at this theater. Carry on with that.
Then I did a lot of informal side workshops, because like in Austria, also in Slovenia, there is no puppet academy or puppet study, so you need to either go to Hungary, Croatia, or Czech. And I was in Czech, in Prague, in Damu, as an Erasmus student before my diploma. And this was very nice for me. This was really like opening my mind. Because still, I was studying at the Academy of Theatre, and this is classical drama theatre study. So the teachers couldn't really help me with my puppetry dreams or whatever. So they were very supporting. I made all the seminars and diploma also in the puppetry, puppet theater. But in Prague, they really got so much input, so much motivation that when I came back, I just started with my own theater.
Oh, I see. Yeah. But when you're studying, because there are, as I see now with the interviews that I've done with puppeteers, there are so many different types of puppets also. So you cannot just say puppet but there are marionettes, there are hand puppets, there are these moving puppets with moving parts. So do you do different puppets, or do you have one specific style of puppetry that you do, or puppets that you make?
Definitely, I don't do marionettes. Because that's from the childhood.
Childhood trauma.
Or it was very clear from the beginning. No strings. But I combine a lot. I do hand puppets, puppetry. I do tabletop. I do also masks, like these huge puppets, masks. I don't do javaikas, so the puppets on sticks. I do puppets on sticks, but I turn it around. So it should be like this, but I did it like this.
That. Yeah.
But this is also like a Sicilian style of marionettes. They have. So in my education, I tried to do everything. I tried quite everything, also object theater, shadow theater. And then I'm combining for what my story needs.
Okay.
I'm not this kind of puppeteer that it has a style. It's like kind of one way. Also because I'm doing my own puppets, and I always want to research in which way will now lead me to discover the new world and the new technology. It's the new world also. Yeah.
But do you, when you make your puppets, are you sort of doing your own thing? Do you? I know you studied and making the puppets, but is there some times where you think you experiment and you try something new, something different, the way you think it should work?
Yeah, I do this, and then I always need to go back to basics.
Really?
I always try something new. It's this kind of horrible art mind when you want to be creative. But somehow I go always back to the basics, because the puppet needs the skeleton, which is nice that it's the basics, because then it works. Then the puppet can walk, can hug, can touch the head. And when you experiment, of course, it's very nice. Then 10% of this experiment I use, and 90% needs to go to. But it's nice, because then you maybe I find always these detailed things. Maybe it's just the movement of the hand. Maybe the head moves a little bit different, and this is for me very important in puppetry. These details that make personality also. This kind of
yeah. Now, when you make the story, and like you talked about the birth of the puppet, so do you have then in your mind the character already, or what comes first? The character, that you have the character in mind, and then you build the visual, the body, or do you build something and then develop the character from there?
I first do the story. I know visual concept, where I want to go. I often work in groups, so I'm very rarely I work really alone. And then I start to make it, and sometimes I have a great idea in my head how it should be, and then it's something different that maybe it's even better, because I try to follow also material and puppets, and sometimes on the way of creating a puppet, just something wonderful happens. And as I'm independent puppeteer, so I do not work for institutions, I do not command a puppet workshop that should do a puppet, so I can change my mind, and this is my luxury.
Your luxury that you can do it. But so when you make the puppets, do you get inspired by people, or you say you have the story in your mind, but certain characteristics from people, do you use that? Do you watch people to see certain characteristics to put in your puppets?
Yeah, I think I do. Not intentionally, because I think that the events or the person needs to emotionally touch me, and then I just create a story around, like this little puppet. Yeah, adorable. I made him during Corona time. More or less accidentally, because I had a lot of time. I didn't plan. And then my friends, they said he looks exactly like my grandfather. And then maybe I subconsciously just create something that I missed the most, or I couldn't get in contact in this time. And then I create the whole trilogy around this puppet, and he has a character of my grandfather. Then I just decide that he will look a little bit like my grandfather, and he will behave. And
okay. But now, how does he behave when you bring him to life? Now, when you move the parts.
When I move he has his own language.
Yeah.
So he's like shabalabu, shabalabe, shabe. Yeah. So yeah.
Oh, that is so cute. But yeah, and show me the other puppets there behind you. I would introduce your puppets.
Yeah, this. She's Mona, and she's not made by me. She's made by our costume designer and scenograpist, Katarina Zaler. Just what is inside is made by me and my colleague Jure Arnold. And she's part of Puppet Cabaret. She lives in the elderly home in Slovenia, but she come to Slovenia as a Erasmus senior exchange, because she's from Vienna, actually.
Oh, I see.
Her name is Mona. She has a lot of, wait, now it's a little bit difficult. She has a lot of women stereotype contribute. So she's like, hello, hoop, hoop. So she has these boobies. She's a pole dancer. And she likes to kiss also. And this is part of a bigger group. We have 5 or 6 puppets, and then we perform a puppet cabaret.
Oh, okay.
So old people doing
cabaret.
Yeah.
And the dog, is it a mask, you said?
Yeah, the dog is it's a part of a huge costume. So I put a hat inside.
Yeah.
I hardly see more or less nothing. And then he opens the mouth.
Okay. So there's a person inside, but just a normal body, and just the head. Oh.
Yeah. Has a big tail, and he's very animalistic. He's like a bit. We worked a bit on the Balkan stereotype, and it's a piece about love. And here I got inspired by one dog. I saw one dog sitting in the car, like really on the behind seat.
Yeah.
And he was looking, he looked so human. Really? So like really sitting and watching out of the window. I was like, and I said, okay, I need to do I just changed one character in one piece into the dog. And he's coming to a bar, and he's behaving as a human, but he is peeing around, and he's just very animalistic.
Yeah.
And the waiter tries to keep him in the order.
Yeah.
But he does not. And then he even brings his own puppet theater. He has a hand puppet theater, like in Hamlet, for example.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
And he plays his own story, not by the puppets.
But now this theater and these stories are so adorable. I mean, but this theater, who is this aimed at? Who's your audience?
Adults.
Yeah.
We are doing for adults because my goal still is for 12 years to do a horror show. I'm focusing on horror show. A lot of time the horror show just goes into something else, that it's not horror show anymore. And also because I'm talking about horror show in the classical way, classical Dracula, classical
Oh, okay.
Not horror show these days with the
Oh, yeah.
but more about talking about evil spirits,
Oh, okay.
our dark sides and things. Yeah, like here behind I have my Dracula.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It's for a puppet opera show.
Yeah. Oh, okay. What is in the mouth there? Is it his teeth?
Yeah, those are two teeth. It's like Nosferatu had these teeth together. And this is the first Dracula movie. Then it was Dracula. And I found it nicer.
Yeah. And how would he sound, or what would he do? How is his character?
This character comes to where he is. It's about this little guy.
Oh, okay.
Because this little guy has a mental illness, paranoia, and then I create with these trilogies. I create stories around how he explains his world around. So in the Dracula, he becomes ill, and he decides that it's because of vampires.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, and then he goes and tries to find this vampire that made him ill, and then he figures out it's a woman, and then he falls in love with her.
Oh,
and then in the end, of course, he needs to kill her. So it's a bit of love story also, which is also in Dracula, because Dracula had this kind of hypnotize power for the women. But I wanted to switch this role. These horror movies and stories, they are full of man power.
Yeah.
And all the monsters, they're all men. So I thought, I will just make a Dracula in
a woman.
Woman, to give her a lot of power.
This is amazing. And you say now this is an independent theater, and how many productions do you have a year?
I try. It's different. 1 to 3. I try to do now only 1 to have time to also play other shows. I want to keep them alive. Like a trilogy with the Moji. We did the first show, then it's Dracula, and this year we are doing Frankenstein.
Okay.
Because he's so alone that he decided to make his friend or a company. So, and these all 3 shows we play. We also play a dog show. And this show, it's also alive. So my wish is, of course, to play as much as possible these shows and kind of get out of this wheel to produce new things.
And is this because we associate puppetry with children's theater, but do people are people surprised that it's for adults, or is it something very normal for people to come to a puppet show for adults? Do you have to market it in a way that you say, okay, this is an adult show, and when you see puppets, you immediately think, okay, it's a children's show?
Yeah, this is definitely a challenge. Sometimes I do it very clear. I think with the Dracula and Frankenstein it's not so hard because the stories are so appealing. With this dog show, I think we didn't even say that it's a puppet show. It's absurd comedy.
Oh, okay.
Because it has also this show. It's made of 1/3 of live music, 1/3 of acting, and 1/3 of puppetry. So I just left this out. And otherwise, yeah, it's in the past I was fighting, a lot, and trying to explain people, the puppets are great, come and see it.
Yeah.
But now I just leave it. I try to focus on what I want to say and how I want to say, and I do not talk so much about how puppets are cool, because I think it comes, if the show is nice, then people are like, oh wow, but this is really cool. So
that's true. That there has to be the story should be the main attraction, basically, rather than just the fact that they are puppets.
Yeah. Also in the children's shows, it would be I kind of miss more fantasy in the children's shows. But I don't. It's not my. My.
Okay, so you don't do children's shows at all.
I work with children.
Yeah.
I have theater groups. I work in the Red Noses company in the Rottenhasen here in Austria. So I'm basically all the time with children. So I take my right to do for adults. But it's not so. We have some children, 10 plus. I always say to the parents that they need to decide by themselves.
Okay.
Because Dracula, it is a topic about death, but they watch movies also. It's not like, I don't know why in theater is this such a taboo. So they come and it's not, usually it's totally okay.
So, but where is your theater?
In Klagenfurt.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Now I'm based in Klagenfurt from 2019. I had a theater in Slovenia for 10 years, or 11, Then Corona came and it was kind of, I moved before the Corona, and then naturally things just, went apart. And it was anyhow a lot of changes in private lives after Corona. And this was one of our decisions also. And now I'm really, from 2019, from 2020, I'm really focusing only on puppetry. Before, we were quite diverse with the contemporary dance and street theater and puppetry. So I really like it.
Yeah. Oh, but that's amazing and so wonderful that Corona has brought many changes, but it seems to be positive things that happened for people. Despite all the negative things, many positive projects came from that. But Nadia, what is still the wish for you? What is the dream still?
Yeah.
Say it.
We just, my wish was to, when I say I have a theater, that means that I have actually a company. We don't have space. It does not exist. But I was dreaming to have a black box theater. Something small, cute, and black, because it's nice to play with the lights. And then just, I think 1 month ago or 2 weeks ago, we bought a caravan, a Wohnwagen. In which we will adapt it for the theater. So we will have a caravan puppet theater. Which I'm totally excited about.
So then you can come to Vienna as well.
Yeah, we can come everywhere, not to Indonesia or
but you can drive.
So this was this is one of dreams, and let's see how it will develop and how we will use this caravan. But it has so many potentials, and I'm so happy to have this opportunity.
Oh, you have to let me know when you come to Vienna. I would so love to come and watch a performance, a show, a puppet show.
Yeah, we are planning to go with this golden dog.
Yeah.
But we will see.
Yeah.
We are looking for the venue that could take us. But
well, I so hope that your wish comes true and that everything works out, because it's amazing what you do. And yeah, I love your whole story. It's so wonderful and so great that you came, you know, that your dad made this imagination for you, or opened this way of thinking, you know, this imaginary world. So that's so beautiful. I love this story.
Thank you.
Your dad is your dad. Does he know? Does he watch your performances, your puppets?
Yeah, he does. Sometimes he does also a bit of scenography, or.
Oh, really?
Yeah. When we need some piece that we can not build it for ourselves, like a table that is on the wheels, and that we can also lie on this table. And
oh, okay. Oh, that is so wonderful.
Yeah.
But Tia, thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for sharing your story, and see you in Vienna soon.
Yes, thank you for the invitation.
It's a great pleasure. It's so wonderful. Okay, have a lovely afternoon.
Yeah, you too.
Thank you. Bye.
Ciao.